Sometimes it feels like the world is full of noise that just does not let up. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares recent real stories you might not hear otherwise. Here, you will find moments of balance that do not ignore the harder parts of life, but show a fuller picture of what is happening. Today's stories offer a reminder that there is more to the world than the loudest voices or the heaviest headlines. We will begin with a story about a man who left behind a past of falsehood and found a new path focused on justice and healing. It is a strange sort of beginning, isn't it? Feeling lonely, bullied, and then discovering a place that offers power, family, and protection. Dr. Richard Harris grew into that longing, and in the late 1960s, he took his pain out on others as desegregation began. Then the Kinsley ideology found him. By the time he was in his late teens, the message was already shaping his thinking, and he eventually rose within the Ku Klux Klan, becoming a Grand Dragon in Indiana. He was the youngest in that role north of the Mason-Dixon line. But something shifted when he noticed the people around him were not offering truth. One of his guards, someone he had been trusting, was plotting to kill him. That fear did not lead Harris deeper into hate. Instead, he turned to God. He read the Gospels carefully and patiently, and he began to see how Scripture had been twisted. He kept returning to Jesus and the Samaritan woman, and he realized how narrow his world had become. That awareness grew into action. He called the Imperial Wizard and quit the Ku Klux Klan, choosing an exit that was both spiritual and personal. After that, Harris devoted his life to racial justice. He later documented his experiences in the award-winning book One Nation Under Curse, published in 2012, and served as a senior pastor for 31 years. His life became a reminder that people can be taught wrongly and also unlearn, rebuild, and help others reduce racial bias. One honest choice at a time. If you have ever wondered what hope looks like when it becomes a real, everyday decision, this story offers an answer you can picture with your own eyes. Troy Rowe was 50 in the way that matters most, because his body was asking for help. After a routine exam in 2024, he learned his kidney function was declining, and his condition moved forward into end-stage kidney disease caused by hypertension. He joined the transplant waiting list, knowing his blood type, B positive, could make finding a compatible donor harder. In early 2025, a doctor told him to go to the emergency room, and the urgency in that moment made the future feel suddenly close and uncertain. Then, on February 2nd at NYU Langone Health, Troy and his older sister, Kim Rowe, walked into the hospital arm in arm. Kim had tested as a rare, highly compatible match. After extensive evaluations that included a physical exam, a colonoscopy, and a mammogram, she donated a kidney to Troy. The surgeries were successful. Both siblings recovered well, and they later celebrated Kim's birthday together the following month. Troy says he feels like himself again, and Kim says she would do it all over again without hesitation. What stands out to me is how love can be both calm and decisive. Not a grand gesture performed once in a lifetime, but a steady willingness to step forward for someone else's chance at tomorrow. There is something quietly powerful about seeing strangers move with care for someone they have never met, and this story is a great example of that. Maisy, a 12-year-old Staffordshire Bull Terrier, fell into a narrow crevice in North Yorkshire and ended up trapped about 6.5 meters underground. The space was tight enough that the Scarborough and Ryedale Mountain Rescue Team described it as challenging to work in, and so they leaned on the right kind of problem solving. An 18-person group responded in Scarborough, with smaller team members volunteering to fit into the narrow gap. They used careful climbing tools, including a hammer and chisel, to widen the opening just enough to create a way through. Then came the human chain, steady and deliberate. Rescuers reached toward Maisy and passed her person to person, guiding her from the underground sinkhole to safety. After about 6 hours of patient work, the team was able to free her and get her reunited with her relieved owner. What stays with me is how trust can be built in real time. Not hope as a feeling, but hope as action. When people show up, communicate, and coordinate, even a situation that seems impossibly cramped can make room for a happy ending. Sometimes the biggest help arrives in the simplest form, like a clear message that tells you where to go and what to do next. In Chikhalda, Gamut Ripin, the village Sarpanch, filmed 1-minute Instagram explainers in simple Gujarati about government welfare schemes. Instead of leaving people to guess through confusing instructions, he answered questions and, when needed, guided villagers through applications offline. He kept posting, making more reels, so eligibility did not stay hidden behind paperwork, and it worked in real lives. In December 2025, a 20-year-old named Gamut Vipul saw a disability pension reel. Within 2 months, he began receiving 1,000 rupees, and he used that money to buy books for an Indian Railways qualifying exam. In July 2025, Ripin also posted a pension explainer, and later created more than 50 reels overall. His community saw tangible support too, including disability pensions for widows and help with housing subsidies for families below the poverty line, along with scholarships for students. What stays with me is how this turns social media from something distant into something neighborly. It is not just information, it is trust, spoken plainly, then followed through. When people finally know they qualify, they do not just receive benefits, they gain breathing room to plan their next step. And for a village like Chikhalda, that feels like real hope showing up on a screen and then moving into everyday life. Have you ever noticed how something as simple as a bandage can still leave a footprint even when you are just trying to help someone feel better? Bernardo Renner and Isis Valentin started with a personal frustration and turned it into an answer you can hold in your hands. The 17-year-old students from Brazil created Hada, a biodegradable dressing made from aloe vera and chamomile. Instead of settling for a prototype that only looked promising, they built working versions and kept testing. Their early results point to practical qualities that matter in real first aid: adhesion that helps the dressing stay in place, flexibility for everyday movement, and antimicrobial performance in their initial studies. They also developed research to match the work they were doing, producing 4 research papers as they refined the idea. Standing in Geneva on 17 May at the Earth Prize 2026, their effort earned them the Central and South America winner title. They also received $12,500 in funding, with plans to validate the technology and scale production for places like schools, sports centers, and healthcare settings. And there is still more momentum ahead, because public voting for the global winner opens on 18 May, and the winner is crowned on 29 May. What I love most is how progress can begin with something ordinary and then grow into something dependable. It is a reminder that caring combined with follow-through can change what healing looks like. As always, I have a wonderful tip to help you hit the mental reset button and find more ease and joy in your day. Today, we are talking about the difference between being realistic and being permanently cynical. Realistic is a way of looking at life that includes facts, limits, and uncertainty without assuming you are doomed. It sounds like, this is hard, and it is also workable. You notice what is true, you plan accordingly, and you still leave room for effort to matter. Permanently cynical is something else. Cynicism tends to start predicting disappointment before anything even happens. It says, nothing good will last, or people do not really change, and then it uses that belief to protect you from feeling disappointed. But the cost is heavy. You stop looking for evidence that things can improve, and you start treating hope like a mistake. A simple check you can try. After you notice a skeptical thought, ask, am I assessing this situation or am I punishing myself for believing in it? If it is assessment, you can adjust and move forward. If it is punishment, take a breath, soften the language, and choose one small action that would still make sense, even if you are not guaranteed a perfect outcome. All right, friends, we made it to the end of today's episode of 10 Better Minutes. I hope that even if the news feels loud and heavy where you are, you can still carry this quieter truth with you. That decency, care, and good work keep happening, often right in front of us. If you want a steady stream of calmer stories to come back to, please follow or subscribe. New episodes are posted every day, and it is a nice way to clear some noise from your day. And if you have a good news story link or a local positive moment that others might have missed, leave it in the comments. I genuinely appreciate hearing what is good in your corner of the world. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.